I think with enough tries, we can get Terry out into the bay.
Oh, my God.
This time, the bag stays intact. But the force of the air pressure blows the bag off the tank, and for a moment, Terry achieves liftoff.
We initially went into this thinking that there wasn't going to be enough volume to fill the bag. Now there's enough volume, but the pressure is so great, we have to figure out now how to keep the bag on.
Coming up, Joe and Zaz go to trapeze school.
This is crazy.
But will high anxiety
I'm like trembling.
make Joe chicken out?
I'm done with that.
And later, it's failure after failure.
That was unexpected.
Will this prototype ever pass the test?
Back to the drawing board on my part.
For their latest invention, the engineers at Prototype This are creating a personal airbag to protect from high falls. A wearable safety device that senses your descent and inflates around you before you hit the ground. With the airbag's design drawn up and a 3D scale model printed out, at the end of week 1 of a 2-week project, the structure of the airbag is starting to take shape. Earlier today, when Terry tried to find a method to quickly inflate the bags, the high pressure needed for rapid inflation blew the 2 test bags away. So to solve the problem, Terry needs a bulletproof solution.
Here's your Kevlar sock.
Thank you, sir. With the airflow coming through so hard, it was tearing the bag up, so we're using the Kevlar as kind of a diffuser.
Attaching the Kevlar sock inside the airbag will slow down the air just enough to keep the bag from ripping off. That's one more mechanical problem solved. Looks like Joe and Zaz on the electronic side of the build have some catching up to do. So they swing by the Trapeze Arts Circus School in Oakland, California to get sensor readings for their airbag deployment system and to find out how a high fall really feels.
So we came to the Trapeze Arts School today, basically to take some sensor data, someone falling 30 feet, a realistic kind of fall that someone might experience if they're, say, working on a roof and they trip over and fall backwards.
I think I'll be going now.
Joe's clearly afraid of heights.
We got science to do.
That was crazy.
But after he and Zaz put on the mandatory embarrassing outfits, Joe swallows his fear and climbs to the top.
This is the scariest part.
They're taking a few test falls before adding the sensors that will give them data to program.
Oh, I'm totally gonna fall off.
That is, if Joe survives long enough.
I'm like trembling.
Joe's frozen on the platform,
Okay. Yeah.
but soon takes the plunge.
Hold up, let go.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
Joe's had enough high-flying adventure,
One try was good enough for me.
but Zaz wants to see what all the fuss is about.
Step around to this side. Go.
I think I can see my house from here.
Just hang in there, buddy. Okay.
And Joe's glad to let him do it.
This is crazy. What did we get ourselves into?
Stay in position, do not let go. Ready, bend your knees, and step straight down, tight.
All right. Okay, now pull, let go.
Zaz is much more comfortable taking a fall.
Nice wedge. Okay.
He's our resident crazy stuntman, and he's willing to sacrifice his body for science.
Pull.
But they decide to leave it to the pro.
Yeah, I'll be doing the stunt this time.
Okay.
Cool. So we got the wireless sensor right here. I'm going to tape this to his band and take some wireless acceleration measurements as he falls down. Zaz is going to be videotaping. We'll be able to analyze this stuff in the lab. So go for it.
Cool.
Let's go.
Good luck.
Cool.
Stefan climbs to the ceiling 30 feet up, the target height for our final test.
I think the backwards fall is one of the most difficult to recover from and the kind of thing that we'd expect to see the airbag deployed in many cases.
And he really gives the sensors something to record.
We're ready here. Woo! Wow. That's pretty amazing.
We came here in search of a genuine fall for 30 feet, and that's certainly what we got.
The aerialist's plunge from a 30-foot height gives Joe and Zaz perfect readings to study. After the lofty freefall experiments, Joe and Zoz come back to the lair to try to make sense of the sensor data they've collected.
And so we were looking at the data that came out of that accelerometer to see just what that fall looked like.
He jumps off. He's in free fall. Then he hits the net, bounces, hits the net again.
Right. So we're going to need to sense the fall, trigger the airbag, and have the airbag deployed within well before that time. I'm pretty confident that we can get the sensing and start the deployment of the airbag in time.
Joe and Zoz's electronics are essential to every prototype, but this build demands pinpoint precision. Someone's life could depend on it. The airbag itself demands just as much care in its construction, and that responsibility falls to Dr. Mike. A few days ago, Terry's failed air pressure test made the need for reinforced airbags apparent. So, with a roll of very sturdy ripstop nylon in hand, Mike heads to Hogan Sales to have the airbag sections precision cut by professional sailmaker Steve McCarthy.
Right now, Steve's taking the files I sent him, and he's nesting them, so they'll all fit nice and we don't waste a lot of fabric.
The robotic Pro Sail cutter makes short work of what would have taken Mike painstaking hours to cut out.
I can't even cut in a straight line. Could you imagine trying to cut that out?
But the sailmaker's shop is only the beginning.
Now all this needs to get stitched together. Now that is going to be a project.
And for that project, Mike will need some help. He's a prototyper and not a tailor. So the next day, Mike hands off all the cut pieces of nylon to an expert seamster, tailor-made to get the airbags sewn together.
Nobody's made an airbag like this before. Even NASA thought this was a little crazy.
Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
With the space-age airbag construction underway, downstairs, Terry's begun an important part of the air delivery system. Reinforced